We're in the workshop here at the Kingdom TaylorMade headquarters. Amazing facility, open workshop that you see as you walk through. You might be looking to change your grips. You might not have a clue that you need freshies on there. In this video today, we're going to cover when to change them and a step-by-step guide as to how to do this. New grips, they're like clean bed sheets, something that you got to have in your life. They are your contact point with the golf club, so it's imperative that these stay fresh and where you want them. I tend not to come off of the Tour Velvet. I think you find with a player, the longer they play, the more they stay on that grip that they used as they were a kid. I've moved around a little bit into lambkins, I've gone full cord, but for the most part, I like this. Now, what I will say about the lifespan of this grip, I've spent a lot of time with it. I think it's a bit like, I don't know if I'm talking trash here, but car tires. The rubber is going, and then all of a sudden you get that second life. I know I've spoken to Rickie Fowler about this. He actually worked with a grip company to give him the second life out the gate, take the buff off the grip. I was going to change all of these grips, and then I felt like I got the second life out of them. If we look at the 7-iron though, this bad boy, I mean, it's gone. We've got a little mark, indentation where the 7-iron's going. Q and I spoke to Tiger Woods about how often he changes his grips, and he said that he likes them when it's got these little areas in the grip where it's truly molded to your hand, where you put maybe the trigger finger or the thumb if that's where you move, or some people get the movement in the palm. But these are just at a point where the sun has started to crack the grip down the bottom there. Life is over, they're done. It's time for a fresh set. The other thing is, we're about to get going with the golf season. It's January. If I can take new grips now, I can work them in practice in February, March. By the time April comes, there'll be money. And then realistically, I'll probably make a change middle of the season. I'm only changing 4 through to pitching wedge because I've got fresh wedges in there with brand new grips on, and all of the woods are going to be the new QI35 stuff, other than that 7 wood that I'm still rocking the QI10. But as we bring a Watts in the bag to you later in the year, no doubt I'll get that changed. Just not got there yet. Baby steps. And that's what you should do when it comes to re-gripping your golf clubs. I've got my super tags from SkyCaddie. I've lined them up, each club that they've come off, 4 through to pitching wedge. I've removed them first. I always like to get organized with where I'm going here. I've got a fresh blade, not that fresh, but it's a hook blade, important. I've got the tape changed. We have what we call the cheater. I've no idea what this is actually called, but due to California regulations, the fluid that's used at the Kingdom, you often need the cheater to get the grip started as you slide it on. Those of you that are hardcore golf gear guys are gonna hate this, and I get it, but I actually don't mind it, dependent on the solvent that I'm using. So all the equipment that you have, check that it all works and is all good to go before you get rocking and rolling. I'll go through one, maybe the set, just do it as we go. One of the things I've become pretty switched on about with grip changing, now on my own, I'm not gonna kill myself as much, but I'll always put a mark underneath, certainly with a tour player. Paul Lawrie won the Open Championship many moons ago. He is brutal with grip length. So I'll always start just by rubbing. I tend to go for red if I get the choice. Liverpool. Always run that under just to give myself the first marker. So if I'm changing someone else's grips, we haven't put a different length on. Because if you go different length out the gate, you're going to cause problems. And I can feel as I come through these, in an ideal world, I've actually started to stockpile some Tour Velvet 58s, which is what I use. But as I look at them as a set, I try to make sure that my batch all comes together. Like that one, not sure you'll be able to pick it up, but the color is not as black as the others. So if I had the choice, I'll tell you what, we'll do it. I'm gonna scrap that one. Again, everything's in the preparation, and I'm gonna just trade it for one of the ones here at the Kingdom. Of course, they make this for freaking tall people only. Top shelf for the good stuff, right? Right, so you can see here, I've got the choice of 4. That one's bendy, he's out. I'm gonna take this one because I think the color matches a little bit more, and I'm trying to guess the age of the grips. Good luck getting that in there, Q, we'll do that later. All the small jokes, feel free to bring them. We'll do that later. All right, into what we're doing. So now everything's kind of the same color. If I was being picky, I'd like to have stickers on the end of all of them. Get this out the way. You know what I mean? Nothing. If you're gripping clubs for someone else and you've got stuff in the way, it's freaking amateur hour. The club is going to fill this space. get anything crap out the way. Step number 1. Step number 2 is bang that off. And you want to have, if you can, a straight line. And also, if you need it, go for 2 of these. And you'll see how old your grip is if the blade doesn't stay in it like that, which it's not. But if you get 2, and I've left these on too long for sure. Notice how easy that's come off. 1 strike up one side, 1 strike up another side, and that bad boy is off. That's done and dusted now, so you can get that out the way. But you go through the set. If you've got a buddy, then have your buddy on this one too. These grips are so old that I can just do 1, to be honest, so we'll save you. If the grips aren't that old, then you're gonna need 2 strikes either side. But you can see, look, as these are falling apart, I mean, they're shattered. I've gone for a rib. Okay, let's explain what the rib grip is. As long as you've got a sharp hook blade, they'll come off easy. The rib is actually quite old school. A lot of grips that you'll see out there now will be round. Of course, I've cut down the rib so you can see it. So you see that section there, hopefully you can pick it up on the camera. That right there is actually a very small rib in the grip, okay? Now, what is that for? It's to position, it aligns itself between that decal there and that decal there. Nowadays they make a line. I think a line has a slightly different compound. I have 2 sets of Aligns at home, but when I found these, this is what, 1 second, we're going to be interrupted here by the boss. We interrupt videos for the boss. When he gives us a wink, he needs to get in here. Don't worry, Greg, anything you need from us, we'll do it for you, my friend. So I have a set of Aligns back at home, but as you use these iron grips more, or L woods as well, you can put a rib on a wood, you will basically actually work that in a bit more as it molds around your fingers. Not a problem at all. But I don't think they wear with time, but I think as the grips go, you got to keep an eye on that too. So there's a clean one coming off, job done. And this is how quickly it can move if you know what you're doing. I've only got 3 more to go. Clean coming off. Try and go all the way to the end. Bang, bang. In it comes. Boom. We're not even in a sweat yet, Q. Greg needs to get by. Go on, mate. Thank you. He approves with the video. Bang, bang, all the way to the end. Now that is the first step that's key. Just before we finish here, got to go all the way to the end. If you don't, honestly, at this stage, you'll have a very sore arm. A tidy workshop is a good workshop. These are going straight in the trash can. Important you keep on top of that. As you can see, we share these workshops with a lot of different people. So I need you to ensure that you look after them, you keep them clean. If ever I open a Trotty Golf Academy, 1, we might put an application on here. 2, if you don't keep the workshop clean, you will be gone after week 1. A clean workshop is key, trust me. Okay, number 2, we're gonna go with some tape here. What I'm about to do, any assistant golf pros out there, they don't tell you this in your PGA training, I'm about to save you years of your life. Torch a tape, save a thumb, okay? It's pretty simple. Torch a tape, save a thumb. Get that on the quote list. You torch the tape. Never do you do this without torching a tape. I've lost the skin on my thumbs many a time. If you torch the tape, then this next section, look at that. And you can tell I've left them on too long. If you've torched it and you've taken them off at the right time, you get that. Anyone out there doing grips knows that this is just absolutely key. Now these are my grips, so I'm going to put some time into this. But if you can get, and I know that people out there that know are now blown away by what we've just done here, but if you can get a nice clean grip like that, you can probably do regrips 40 times quicker than what you were doing them. I mean, that in itself is poetry in motion. Torch a tape, save a thumb. Job done. We will spare you the set because we'll do that for B-roll. Take your grip, check it's got a rib in it. You can feel it by doing that, or you can feel it by going up to the light and seeing the rib. I could actually see it down here, I just wanted to blind myself. No problem. Club goes in. This would be, and I'm looking at the blade here, that would be 12 o'clock. I'm taking this, which we did with Andy Plummer, because you've got your offset here. So I'm taking this bad boy straight up in the sky, 12 o'clock. You can have it open, 1 o'clock. You can go this way, 11:30. 11:30 would be Tommy Fleetwood. 12:30, 1 o'clock, Justin Rose. So you got to know where your players want their grips. My experience is the better you get that perfect. Now I'm usually a little open. I'm going to go 12 o'clock on this set. When you put this clamp down, that's moved to 11:30. Not having it. Go again. Okay, that piece is crucial. And I'm going leading edge. All comes together now. I go for that lesson with Andy Plummer. You're all sitting there like, what are you doing? That's important. Now, next thing that's important, you can see here, we've got red line at the bottom where the grip went to. Now you know why you got prepared for it, red line. Tape comes out, and I always slide that just underneath the tape measure. Probably want to go a hair longer, okay? Hair longer, get a straight cut. Got to be straight. Pop that underside. Now, next thing, depends who you're putting grips on for and how pedantic they are about this. Do you remember, I'm going to date myself again, E Honda off of Street Fighter 2. Remember E Honda, Q? You ever play Street Fighter 2? Okay, we'll leave the joke there. But get the palm of your hand. Now, I've gone tape edge just down the side. A lot of players, Faldo for sure, would go middle. You can go middle. This is not something, believe it or not, that bothers me particularly much, but it's where you want the rib of the tape overlapping. Now Faldo would actually cut the tape so that when you do the overlap, it's absolutely, there's no rib. But you'll look, I mean, that's a nice job I've done there. You'd think I'd done this before, so I don't need to cut away any excess. But what I'm looking for underneath is I want to make sure, yeah, you can see it from here, right from here, mate. I'm gonna run this, there you go. There's a tape line there. So that piece of Sharpie, I've tried to just get the rib of that tape directly underneath. Done okay. I do like solid tape versus the wraparound. You know, we've got this little effort here. It comes out not the quickest. But again, I think this has got some California law to it. I'll let you guys dive on that. You're gonna know more than me. Just making sure, and you can squeeze the end when you do this because you want more here. Another little move. Just getting the drip, job done. Take the cheetah, job done. Scrunch that up in there. There you go. Right, I'm gonna whip that out now. And then it's down, and look, see how short I've come? But I want this to go to the red line. Just got to touch the red line. So you go like that. Job done. That's good. To check that you're mustard on the length. Force a habit. I always go for that next. Check I'm mustard on the length. Take one of the other ones. Bang on. That's why you do the red mark. Crucial. Now, you got to get, because we know we're 12 o'clock on the blade, you've got to get this front notch it here needs to be 12 o'clock on top of the club. Then it needs to go directly through on this grip. Obviously you guys might be using different grips. Directly through Golf Pride. Then you got to have this in line with the middle of G and that. And if they're not, that's why I put a bit of extra solvent on. Again, gearheads out there are going to be like, you've used too much solvent, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't care. I've been doing this for 25 years on the tour. I don't care what you think. This is my way of regripping these golf clubs. Get in the comments. I want to hear how you like it. Okay, notice I'm pushing this on. Whip it off, out it comes. One of them, make sure it's down. You can see it's down because the shaft has started to go inside and underline the tall velvet. If I bang that again, that grip's going to come through. Spin it round, check that's at 6 o'clock, check that's at 6 o'clock, through the middle of the golf shaft, put it down, player's view, bada bing. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Number one is done. Quick story for you. You heard Wade talk about it. If you're a big follower of the channel, Wade drives the truck for TaylorMade. Obviously builds the golf clubs here on the PGA Tour. The boys on the European Tour, when there was a lot of players crossing tours, would write little messages on the tape for Wade. So obviously we would choose some choice UK swearing slang, obviously complimenting him on everything he does, write it on the grips, and then when it came to regripping over in the US, you'd obviously get the message, because at this point you can read it clear. So there's a little tour inside tip that we used to do out on the trucks. Always a good crack between the boys, keep people on their toes. Look at that one, that's come off clean. Another little tip, let's be honest, not on my golf clubs, but sometimes if you're in a pro shop and you're doing a regrip, you'll get a set that comes in with extensions on it, and the extension is obviously a little bit over the end of the club. You know, it happens with junior clubs and stuff. I'm not against extensions, I just wouldn't have them in my own clubs. Obviously, if you do that, please build up the extension. So you'd have an inch or so here, or half an inch. Build that up with tape first before you go with the second wrap. Obviously for me, I'm pretty fortunate. I'm only one layer of tape. I've toyed around with 2 layers, but it's tough. I mean, I know it's just a small amount of tape, but it just becomes a psychological thing, which honestly, with my own golf clubs, I don't have to build them all the time. If someone's building me a set, I'm okay with it, but the grips is tough. Like, I like the graphics perfectly lined up, like everyone else, but the grips, I struggle to let someone else do that for me. I guess I'll forever be changing my own grips. It's a good skill to have though. One step that I haven't done is weigh the grips. I've actually had KJ Choi come on the Open Championship truck over there in the UK and weigh the grips to get them exactly right so it didn't impact the swing weights. You know what? If they're off, it's going to be by half a gram. It is a step that you should take if you're super serious about your game. Just go and check that those swing weights are bob on perfect again. But that's it. We've wrapped up. You've gone through the regrip. You've got everything square, everything where you need it. Now pop back on anything you use. I'm on the Super Tags from SkyCaddie. I'm going to pop them back on, recalibrate, and I'm good to go. Any questions, as always, bang them down in those comments and let's see how you do your grips. That's how I do mine. I like it. It's tried and tested with the best players in the world. It's tried and tested on my own clubs, and of course they're really important too. So they'll be rocking and rolling. Fresh sheets, fresh golf grips, just as important. Keep changing those things. Don't be nasty.